How's it going, guys? My name is Boho, back with another video, and I'm here with my buddy. You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Pat. On the internet, I go by Henchy. I'm a Master Tier AD player on NA, and we're here to take a look at CLG and see what's going wrong with them this split. Why are they doing so poorly?
Um, Let me just preface this by saying that CLG has historically done pretty bad at the beginning of splits. Like I don't know, they always start off pretty bad, but um, yeah, we're just gonna go over lightly address the draft from them, and then just pretty much like the key elements that ended up losing them the game. And then, there were some positive things in the games that they did, but just ultimately what led to them getting 2-0'd by FlyQuest. So we're specifically going over that series. All right, guys. So this is the comp that FlyQuest has, and we're gonna have Pat go into like kind of what they want to accomplish with their composition. So you can go ahead.
So CLG prioritizes their mid lane. They pick Corki or in the first pick phase, and they end up banning two mid laners. So they're really putting they're putting Huhi in a position where he needs to win mid lane because they're using a lot of bans and early picks to get the pressure on the mid lane. So that's going to be the main focus of this game, is getting mid ahead and not giving High the chance to snowball the side lanes with the TF pick. Bot lane should be about even. Maokai versus Nautilus is about even, and Kha'Zix versus Lee Sin is a skill matchup. So if Huhi can get the pressure mid lane, then they should be able to snowball the game through that. Whereas if Fly get the pressure, then High is going to be able to snowball the side lanes.
Okay, so here's a couple key things that happened in the first game that kind of led to FlyQuest winning. So first off, what ended up happening, despite the winning matchup mid lane, Moon ganked early game. He came mid early game and kind of hit Huhi with a cheese level 3 gank. So that was definitely really big by him. If you want to kind of expand on that, you can go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, so it was really smart by Moon to do that because these players scrim so much and they get into this kind of mindset where, okay, it's Kha'Zix. Most likely he's going to do a full clear. He's going to be bot side, and I can play pretty aggressive for the first few levels because he knows Lee Sin is going to do a three camp clear, and they're going to have the jungle pressure. Whereas Moon goes for a 3 camp clear on the top side of the map, only has blue buff, and we'd call it a cheese gank mid. He gets both sums out of Huhi, and he gets the kill. This is tragic for CLG because they're looking to play around their mid laner, and now their mid laner has 1 death and 0 sums versus a TF. And while he can still play aggro in the lane, he can't look for kills, he has no summoners, and he's vulnerable to get ganked again.
Okay. And another key point is just really poor positioning by Stixay in a lot of the team fights, and especially the one where they were at Baron. They were right after FlyQuest had snuck the Elder Drake. They tried to rush down the Baron, and he got stuck in the pit as CLG was moving out. So they weren't really on the same page whenever that play was going down.
Yeah, like I'm an ADC main, and watching Stixay this game was so frustrating. The one play where TF ported top and Stixay kind of like flash late after the gold card was already midair, so Lemon was able to flash Mal's ult and follow up and get the double kill. So there he greeted with his flash. A lot of the team fights he was getting blown up before the fight even started. Like there's one team fight he did at like 95 damage or something, which is like not even a W hitting one champion. So it was just pretty bad play from the bot lane overall. Afro got his flash burned 2v2, and High was able to port bot and capitalize on that and get a free kill from that. So just lots of 2v2 errors, which shouldn't happen, and then Stixay just poor positioning and not a lot of damage or even utility in the fight. So very poor play by him and poor use of summoners.
Yep, for sure. I agree with that. And also, they picked up the Corki mid lane. Huhi was just not able to make any meaningful packages happen. There was one package that I thought was okay, but it wasn't it wasn't fight changing. It didn't really make anything happen for CLG. It just kind of disengaged the fight. But he had moments in there where he would package in, and then he would just die. Like I don't know. He just didn't seem comfortable in the pick.
Yeah, there was the one package near Dragon, for the Dragon fight, and he literally just suicided 1v5, and he's the main DPS. Like Ash's utility carry, they have Lee Sin, Zyra can do some damage, and then Maokai's frontline. So Hui is the main source of DPS, and when he's just pretty much inting with the package, it's not good, and there's not setting the team up to win the fights. He has to be able to use the package effectively and then put out damage after. So I thought his packages were really lackluster this game. Not really, because like with the package you can kind of match the roams from high a little bit, and he didn't really do that at all. Didn't look to make plays and just kind of suicided a bunch of times. So it's pretty unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. And then, like after the really poor early game that CLG had and just weren't really able to make anything happen, they just started doing like a Baron dance, and like they just kind of had to. They had to, like, they were forced into making that, like they had to get Baron. That was their win condition at that point, because I mean they couldn't create any advantages early. Like really the only advantage that they had was like top lane on Darshan. He's playing Maokai with like a 50 CS lead. Like who really cares? It's like two tanks going at each other. It's really not going to make that big of a difference in like the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, like when your win condition at the pick ban phase is to get mid ahead and play around mid, and high ends up getting so many free kills and staying pretty much even in farm, you can't really pressure the side lanes in the late game because they have a TF, and Maokai can't really 1v1 Nautilus. It's just kind of a tank matchup. So they're kind of forced to go to Baron constantly, go to Baron over and over and over. And they don't do Baron very fast, so they can't sneak it or anything. And CLG, or FlyQuest kind of catches on to this. And that's when they go for the Elder Dragon sneak. And that really is game changing, and I gotta credit High for that one, because he kind of picked up on it that CLG would just dance around Baron, never actually committing to it. So like, well, I'm TF, I can just port if we need to. Let's 2-man this Elder, take a risk, and it ends up paying off for them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It ended up winning the game really, because I mean just. That was like so smart. High is just so good at shot calling. Honestly, he's like such a like. Oh, he's so good. Like you can tell that like the team is just run by that guy. He is just straight up the brain right there. And that whole play, like, and then after they killed him at Baron, I mean that's pretty much GG right there. Like, they completely outclassed him. Is what I would kind of like sum that up to in the first game.
Yeah, I'd say, I don't know, Huhi's playing poorly. And when you're trying to focus your comp around him and he can't put the team on his back kind of thing, it's and then bot lane's getting 2v2'd and just not winning the lane, it's really difficult. So CLG's got to step that up.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to move on to the second game. Okay. So what does it look like in these comps here? That both what are the teams trying to accomplish with their compositions?
It's very similar to last game. CLG picks the LeBlanc for Hui. So LeBlanc is pretty much the most OP or prioritized champ in the game. Maybe Camille is up there. And they give Malzahar and Rengar for it. So They once again, they really want this mid lane to win. They prioritize picking mid lane in the first phase of the champ select, and that's their game plan really. They pick another similar bot lanes that should go even, same matchup top lane, and then they give away Rengar. So Kha'Zix versus Rengar 1v1, Kha'Zix will win, but Rengar can have more pressure on the map. So it's not a bad trade-off, but mid lane has to win if they want to make that trade-off worth.
Yep. Okay, so to start off this game, once again, like CLG's bottom lane just had really, really poor play. Like I don't know, they were just being over aggressive when they didn't have the summoners, and they're just like trying to force plays when they don't have wards. Just like the game before, it just seemed like the same story.
Yeah, Afro's Flash, both games got burnt 2v2 in lane, and then they were able to capitalize on it both games, Afro dying. So I think that's pretty poor play by Afro, going too aggressive when you have no flash, or even burning your flash in the first place.
Yep. It just feels kind of uncharacteristic too that like Afro's playing this bad. Like I don't really want to put it all completely on him, but he definitely had like a pretty rough day, I would say. Just altogether pretty bad.
Yeah, and he's the one who usually gets a ton of credit. He's a shot caller for CLG. I don't think he's really like known for being a mechanical god, but I don't know. Just like I expect him to have better laning, especially uh, just
For
after
sure.
playing together for an entire split or entire year now.
Hmm. Okay, and once again, another like huge factor was who he once again picking a winning matchup into high and just not making like he even went abyssal first item like he just couldn't make anything happen once again, just loses again.
Yeah, they kind of got outclassed just mid jungle synergy in that one skirmish early game. The who he kind of greeds for the kill towards the end of the skirmish, and High cancels his back and picks him off with like sub 100 HP, and then there's the matchup kind of already skewing in High's favor when he should be losing, and who he should is like supposed to be this really good mid laner who can push his lead and win his lane, but he's just really not showing up, and he goes Negatron first item and still is not able to put a lot of pressure on the matchup. High's going even in CS, and then Caston's going to outscale the fuck out of LeBlanc, so I don't know. Poor
Yep.
play again from the mid jungle, to be honest.
Yep. And this kind of adds on to the like reactive play part of like CLG where they couldn't really like make anything happen, and like Fly was like just they're being crazy, like super proactive like all game. And then also like the mid jungle synergy is just the deficit between those two is just huge. Like CLG doesn't have like half the synergy that I feel like Moon and High had. Like, I mean, they just were making so much stuff happen together, and it just didn't feel like CLG was like even like nobody was on the same page almost.
Yeah, I feel like High just reads the game so well, and he's able to make these calls, and his team trusts him so much that they're just gonna give it their all for him. And like you can see in plays when they commit, they fucking commit, and it's like they are willing to lose one or two members because they know that they'll win the fight, and they trust in High. And so I feel like CLG really lacks this kind of mentality, and I know Afro is one of their main shot callers, and like maybe he's not making the right calls, or maybe they don't trust him enough, but this is something that CLG definitely needs to improve on if they want to start winning some games, because it's not necessarily their like mechanics and they're just bad players. It's just the team atmosphere doesn't seem like they're on the same page. They're being so
For sure.
reactive, and maybe it's just for FlyQuest, who's a really proactive team, but it was just really poorly played by
Yep.
CLG this one.
For sure. I think that about wraps it up. I mean, that's really about the same story both games. Basically just boils down to it, and it's crazy because CLG hasn't changed their roster at all in what 3 splits, I believe.
Yeah.
They're the longest like standing together like team ever. To
Yeah.
like this long, going this long, and having like no roster changes is just. It's just crazy that their synergy is this bad.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Considering.
you'd expect them to come into the split strong, like playing with each other for a long time. Maybe it's the meta and they're on uncomfortable picks, but my personal opinion is that I think Huhi is really lacking, and he needs to step it up. And if they're gonna play around him and get him a winning matchup, then he needs to excel. Other
I
than
agree.
that, they should be giving the winning matchup or putting Darshan on a carry, and Huhi on like fucking Karma or something, where he can just be supportive for his team, because he's really not able to make the plays or win the lane like he needs to. So that's, in my opinion, I think Huhi is one of the sources. And I'd say the secondary is their bot lane just kind of getting outclassed 2v2 to a bot lane in the NALCS that's not even like, people wouldn't say it's a top tier
Yeah.
Altec and Lemon, it's not like
Yeah,
they're dogs,
yeah.
right?
You don't look at them and you're like, wow, like these guys are just gonna be like super good. Like, I mean,
Exactly.
they're both solid players. I think Alltech and Lemon are both like really good players.
Yeah, I
but it's
agree.
like, whenever you look at Stixay and Afro, like you expect like a big like playmaking bottom lane, like straight up top 2, top 3 bot lane in NA.
Yeah.
Like, also considering we don't have very many strong bottom lanes in North America right now,
No,
but
not really.
I mean, still though, like it's a little bit surprising, and I hope that this discussion like helps you guys to understand like kind of like what's going on with CLG, because some people are just that they're just not on that level really, and they can't really understand like where they're going wrong exactly. So hopefully this sheds some light on the situation.
Yeah, I like CLG as a team, but they definitely have a lot of stuff to work on. At the very least, their
Mm-hmm.
ball lane should be going even. So I
Mm-hmm.
hope this video is some insight onto why CLG is having their flaws, and I think this was a good series to pick out because a lot of things went wrong for them, and it was very telling the issues that are going on with CLG. So I hope we gave some more insight into that.
Yep. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. And if you guys like this type of thing, then let us know, because we're still like kind of like brainstorming ideas on what we want to do for videos. And if you guys like Pat and just want us to like keep doing like just videos like this where we analyze stuff, like I'm totally cool with that. We're just kind of testing the waters here and kind of seeing what people like. So
Yeah,
thanks a lot for watching, guys, and peace out.
have a good one.